Hello and welcome to Dawn Chorus Writes, a Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction and audio fiction. This is a requested lyrical one-shot, Save Your Tears. So I hope you enjoy. Massive shout out to the artist for the thumbnail, the picture in the thumbnail, Reiki Blue Guy. All his information is linked in the description below. Give me some love by smashing that like button. Comment down below what you think of it and subscribe so you don't miss out on other treats during January and future treats to come in February. So I hope you enjoy. Save Your Tears. Adrian's POV. Cat, please, you mean the world to me, but this needs to stop. Ladybug cast her eyes down, refusing to look at him in the eyes whilst fidgeting with a yo-yo in her hands, ready to escape. He had heard her frustration as she let out a low, slow breath. I need you to understand that at this moment of time, my heart belongs to another. So I am asking you to respect that and stop doing all this. Ladybug's word repeated inside Adrian's mind as a look of disappointment hung over her face at another failed attempt to ask her out on a simple coffee date. He got it. He more than got it. That the woman he loved still held out for this other special boy after so many years, rather than choosing to let go whoever he was and give Cat a chance. Hadn't they been through enough together? Hadn't he proven to her he was the one standing by her side? What made it worse was he saw the blushes she gave him, the sly smiles, the flirtation touches of his arm, and some of the hugs they had shared. They weren't all friendship gestures. So why can't she take the leap? Forget this blind boy who couldn't see his lady for what she was and give him a chance. Adrian kicked at the single stone laying at his feet whilst waiting for his car to arrive and felt the weight of the early morning battle lay heavy on his shoulders and the ache in his muscles after a long day of school. Grateful to discover that he had the first 2 hours free tomorrow for exam study sessions, which meant he could catch up on what he had missed zoning out today with the added benefit of it being Friday. Hey, Adrian, Hey Marinette, what's up? He glanced up from the stone and saw Marinette fidgeting with a folded piece of paper in her hand. Hey, she repeated. He smiled at the light pink in her cheeks. My car's gonna be here soon. He didn't mean to sound short with her. He just wasn't in the mood for company today, wishing to sleep in the sanctuary of his covers. Yeah. Sorry. Her voice dropped and was about to walk away when he placed his hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, Marinette. I didn't mean. How can I help? He gave her shoulder a quick squeeze as he caught her gaze, offering a soft smile before letting his hand drop. Well, the party tomorrow? Date me? He raised his eyebrows at her and watched as her usual apple red cheeks appeared, causing her blue eyes to sparkle. She rotated the piece of paper in a circular motion between her fingers, refusing to meet his eyes. What? I mean, do you... She took a deep breath and darted her eyes up. I really like you, Adrian, more than a friend, and would you like to go on a date with me for the party? She blurted out in one breath, catching him by surprise. Wait, Marinette liked him? Since when? I mean, he liked her too. She had become his princess. But his heart? Ladybug's words repeated inside his mind. I need you to understand at this moment of time, my heart belongs to another. Stop. So stop doing all this. Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. Marinette's broken voice yanked him out of his whirlpool of thoughts. Wait, did he just say out loud? No, my mistake. I get it, Adrian. I will stop. I will leave you alone. I just thought. Never mind. It was foolish. I need to. She held her hands up, backing away from him as he tried to take a step forward, reaching out to her. Marinette, no, I didn't mean to. I mean, your friendship, my heart. Oh, the look of pain he was causing her tightened his throat and chest, making the words difficult to get out. He never wanted to be the one that caused that pain. I should have known. Please, no. Her strained voice barely broke through the sound of tears. She quickly spun round, dropping the piece of paper from her hand, and sprinted towards home. He noticed for the first time Alia and Nino standing at a distance, but as Marinette ran from him, Alia made her way towards her best friend, as Nino stepped forward and stopped Adrian from chasing after his princess. Dude, what did you say to her? Nino said, exposing his protective side for Marinette. I didn't mean to, but I said my heart belonged to another, which it does. I also told her to stop doing all this. Nino raised his eyebrows and glared at his friend, taking Adrian by surprise. I didn't mean the last part. It just kind of spilled out. I tried to take it back, but I think you broke her heart, man. You said that? Not cool. I wasn't thinking. She took me by surprise. I will find a way to make it up to her. I think you need to give her some space. I mean, if you really don't have feelings for her, then it's only fair. We thought, but got it wrong. Nino, it's not that. His silver car pulled up beside him and a flustered bodyguard gestured for Adrian to climb inside. I think you better go. I will talk to you later, but right now, I need to check. Nino gestured towards the bakery and now the vacant street. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. The car horn erupted, making him jump and face the car. Without another word, Nino turned his back on him and walked away. As he was about to climb in, Adrian noticed the piece of paper Marinette had been holding on the pavement and picked it up. It had his name carefully written across the front. He gave the gorilla a nod to leave as he carefully unwrapped the paper. She had written him a note. He paused, her expression of him breaking her heart. He had no intention of causing Marinette pain. The words had tumbled out of his mouth, not realizing how she had felt about him, and after receiving the same rejection of Ladybug this morning? Oh, how could he do such a thing to Marinette? The one person who had been there for him as Adrian, but also as Cat. Also meeting with his princess on the balcony. I mean, there had been some flirting. He wasn't completely blind to her. Marinette was amazing in every sense of the word, but so was Ladybug. She had his heart, even after countless of rejections. He traced his finger along his name in her handwriting, picturing Marinette leant over her desk, pouring out her heart into a pink piece of paper in his hand, feeling a surge of butterflies in his stomach. Dearest Adrian, I can't believe I am finally doing this. After 4 years, I am finally confessing my feelings towards you. That I love you. Chances are I might have messed up the verbal part of this confession, still failing to compose myself around you after all these years. So here goes nothing. Ever since you gave me your umbrella on our school steps, my heart has belonged to you, and only you. I am grateful to be one of your closest friends, discovering your kindness, your humor, your thoughtfulness and brevity in any given situation, exposing your braver side. You are my sunshine that seems to brighten the most clouded of days, and for that, I thank you. And yet, I understand if you cannot look at me differently, to see me more than a friend. In a short few months, our class is graduating and we may all drift apart. So even though I hope we remain friends as we take the next step, I wanted to use this opportunity to finally tell you how I feel. I love you, Adrian, and I live in hope that you feel the same way. Yours, Marinette. Kiss. Adrian read over the letter in his hand until the car pulled through the gate. Gently, he folded it against the creases and placed it into his pocket against his heart and climbed the steps. It wasn't until he was finally alone did he allow his emotions to flow out of him. Slamming his bag on the ground, he paced back and forth. Anger boiled up inside of him at his own stupidity. 4 years? 4 years? Marinette had been in love with him? Him, Adrian, and he hadn't seen it? 4 years for her to build up the courage to speak to him about it? And what did he do? The image of her expression, the tone of her voice, the tears he had caused. How could he do that to Marinette? He picked up a pillow off the sofa and flung it across the room. His princess, who is warmth, love, thoughtfulness, who would always put you first before herself. He had told her to stop. He growled at himself, picking up the second pillow and launched it towards the other one. Why had he done that? Asking her to stop. Stop being herself, at being kind, his princess. He didn't deserve her love. He wasn't worthy of her love. To cast it aside so easily? Kid, calm down. You need to control your anger. Plague, you should have seen her. The words I'd spoken caused a waterfall of tears to rush down her face. And for what? To hold out for another who has spoken the same words only hours before? What am I meant to do? First, put the pillows down and calm down. Unless you want to be at risk of being akumatized. Oh, yeah. The third pillow dropped onto the sofa. Secondly, talk to her. Explain to. How am I meant to do that without revealing myself in the process? I'm sorry I said those things. They weren't meant for you, only me. Or that I wasn't thinking right because I am exhausted fighting Hawkmoth in the morning. Not those words, but you need to make this right with her. Plague was right. He needed to make this right with her. For his friendship? Or did he? Could he? Finally do as Ladybug herself had requested and to stop? Change targets? But could he take a step, a leap of faith towards Marinette? To prove to her he was worthy of his feelings and be kind, thoughtful and brave? First, he needed to speak to her and explain if she will listen. The following day, Marinette didn't turn up to the study session nor to the class in the afternoon. Nina had informed him she and Alia were helping to set up the last of the decorations for Rose's 18th birthday party that night. How is she? Adrian muttered across the desk at his friend, who had been distant with him. Alia is keeping an eye on her today? I mean, I get it, bro. You can't change the direction of your heart, and in time, so will she. But what you said? Yeah, I wasn't thinking. The words seemed to tumble out. Oh, I wish I could give you more details than that, but I can't. Adrian's pen scribbled across the page, finding it could no longer hold his best friend's stare. You know I have your back, bro, but Marinette, Alia, they are really important to me too. I get it, and I promise I will find a way to make it up to her. Adrian finally lifted his eyes and gave a confirming nod. Adrian spent the rest of the class forming the plan. He had concluded the first thing he would do was ask Marinette for a dance. requesting the same music they had danced to in New York, holding her close in his arms, knowing now how much that dance must have meant to her too. He would tell her how sorry he was, how he hadn't meant those words, but rather they belonged to another. But he was letting her go so that he could be worthy of Marinette. And yet, somehow, life wasn't going according to plan. Nothing was, especially the party. He had selected to wear a new suit that would work well with the hat Marinette had designed for him a few years ago, hoping the gesture would go down well. As he entered the hall, he stood in awe, taking in the surroundings. They had decorated the space to the colours of a sweet shop. Round pink lanterns hung from the ceiling, whilst golden yellow, deep purple, and cornflower blue flowers became the centerpieces of the tables. But the finishing point was the millions of fairy lights hung around the room, casting a magical look over the space. He knew this was Marinette's design. The thought and the effort were all her. Then it was as if the sea had parted and I saw you dancing. You stood out in a crowded room. Your smile shone out for all to see. You looked so happy when I'm not with you. I can do this. Simply walk up to her and tell her how sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. But then you saw me as I caught you by surprise, watching the smile fade away as you shook your head and a single teardrop falling from your eye. Without thinking, Adrian turned around and disappeared back into the crowd. Why did I do that? I don't know why I ran away, knowing that I'll make you cry when I run away. Had this been a huge mistake coming here tonight? How was he going to make it up to her when he couldn't even talk to her? The look of pain washed over her face again at the mere sight of him. That was the last thing he wanted. How much he craved to hug her, to tell her it was going to be alright, and how dare this person caused her to cry. But what could he do when he was the one? After another 20 minutes and completing a round of greeting his friends, whilst coming up with plan B, Adrian was talking to Kim about setting up a new training routine to build up his core muscles, using the modelling as an excuse, but really wondered if building up his natural strength would impact the suit, when his stomach did a flip. First he saw Alia making her way through the crowd, followed by Marinette and then Nino. This was his chance. Marinette, please can I? Adrian pleaded, his fingers brushed against the fabric on her sleeve as she pulled her arm away and kept on walking, leaving his hand to hover out in front, begging for hers. Alia stopped and narrowed her eyes with a fierce expression, but his princess simply walked past him, pretending he wasn't there. Oh, why didn't you stop? We could have talked. You could have asked me why I broke your heart, as I tried to explain my impossible love for Ladybug. You could have watched my heart tear in two as you told me that you fell apart at my words, which were never meant for you. But instead, you walked past me like I wasn't there and just pretended like you didn't care. Adrian turned to follow her. He needed to convince her to talk to him, but Nino blocked him. Dude, it's too soon. You need to give her more time and space, unless you are willing to take back everything you said. Realizing your feelings for Marinette, he said, raising his eyebrows and tilting his head to the side. I'm trying to. Really, I am. I think if I could talk to her. Dude, seriously? You want to tell her how you're trying to love her? Try not to love another? All whilst her heart has shattered into tiny bits? It's a mess. She's a mess. I don't know why I run away. When I saw... Yeah, she can't handle seeing you. But I know she misses you too. Blaming herself? Nino looked to the side and caught Alia staring at him, gesturing him over. "I'd better go, but promise me? Work out how you feel before speaking to Marinette, and be honest." Adrian was taken back. He had never seen this protective side of his friend unless it was regarding Alia. "Yeah. Okay, man. I promise." "Nino!" Alia stormed up. "Marinette has vanished. I need your help to look for. Can I help look?" "I think you've done enough, Adrian. How could you?" She thrust a finger in his face as Nino stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder and leaned in. "We need to find Marinette." "Yeah, but let me say this. You have no idea what she's been through, what she does for you, all the tiny things, and then you cast her aside?" "Alia," said Nino a little louder, turning away from Adrian, leading her back to the crowd. Adrian felt like he had just taken a punch to the gut. The way his friends had looked at him, spoken to him, all because of a misunderstanding. "Marinette, I am so sorry. How I have hurt you, but this I promise you. I'll do anything for you. I never want to make you cry. When I run, it'll be towards you, never away." Adrian decided he would start by finding her, making sure that she was at least safe, and maybe, just maybe, Cat could provide some comfort for his princess when Adrian had failed. Wishing he could say the simple words, "Please, Marinette, take me back, 'cause I want to stay, to remain where you are," and beg her to save your tears for another day. He slipped through the crowd and dashed off in the opposite direction from Alia and Nino, heading straight to Marinette's balcony. Oh, the sound he was greeted with as he landed behind the chimney. Was it wrong that he was witnessing this? To drop down next to her and pretend to be her prince to his princess, knowing what he did? So, as Adrian, I made you think I only saw you as my friend, and yet you had taken the leap, hoping that I would return your love and always stay. Yet I said some things that I should never say, especially not to you, princess. How much I wish I had seen it earlier and not been surprised by your actions. Yeah, I was blinded by my love for Ladybug, but instead, I broke your heart like someone did to mine. My biggest fear is the pain I have caused you might mean I have now lost my chance, and now you won't love me for a second time." Cat, hoping he was doing the right thing, took a steady breath and stepped round the corner. Nothing. Marinette continued to stare out at the crispy night, sobbing. "Evening." "Not tonight, Kitty. I'm not in the mood." Felt the exhaustion in her words, but refused to face him. Sorry. I thought..." "Well, you thought wrong. I thought wrong. I've gotten it all wrong, Kitty. I'm a fool." "Please don't say that, princess. You are no fool. You're the opposite of a fool." "I'm a fool for thinking he would see me? That anyone would see me, other than a friend. That I'm worthy." Her words fell apart as the tears took over. She blew out shallow breaths of air, exposing the wave of emotions which were threatening to crash down on her. Cat flung his arms around her from behind, leant his head against her back. "I see you, princess. I promise you I do. I see you for the amazing princess that you are. There is no one like you, Marinette." "Kitty, I'm sorry. I am so sorry." She placed her hand on top of his and gave them a light squeeze. What for? You have nothing to apologize for. What can I do to help? I will do anything to take this pain away for you. Having you here helps. Somehow you are always here for me when I need you. Guilt spiraled from his throat to his gut. He didn't deserve her confidence, her faith, not after he had hurt her so. Not when he caused the tears that were hitting his clawed hands. Marinette, I'm so sorry. She turned in his arms and buried her face in his shoulder, her slender frame racked with sobs that tore every fibre of his being. What else could he do but hold her? Her, Marinette, his Marinette, who was stronger than anyone else he knew, who gave from the abundance of her heart day after day for years, who was kindness and compassion itself. His Marinette, who had offered him her heart full of love and trust, only for him to discard it as if it was trash itself of the precious treasure it was. His? No, she wasn't his. He didn't deserve her. I don't know what I was thinking. Why didn't I see her before I made her run away? Oh, this girl could have been his everything and he'd broken her. How could he ever redeem himself? The very heart he felt himself reaching for, aching for, was now beyond his reach forever, and he had no one to blame but himself. Her sobs were slowing, and the silence was as heartrending as the tears had been. Marinette rubbed her cheek against his collarbone and heaved a tremendous sigh. Oh, you must have the best heart in the entire world, she whispered, her fingers tracing patterns down his arm. No, I'm just a silly cat, Marinette. You are a true princess with a heart of purest gold. I know you love Ladybug, and she kept rejecting you. How can you keep loving someone after that? After someone who was your world just dashes your heart to pieces? How have you done this for so long, Cat? I don't know, but it's not something I would wish on you or anyone else. He breathed her in, the scent of vanilla and flowers. It was a balm to his mind, but a stab at his heart as it pounded from her closeness. How vulnerable she sounded. I meant what I said, Princess. He whispered into her hair. I'm at your command. Tell me what you wish, and I'll make it right for you. No one should make you cry when you bring such joy to so many others. Oh, why did I run? Please take me back, Marinette, 'cause I want to stay. He took her head in his hands and tipped her face up so that he could see her eyes. Their normal sky blue was darkened by the storm in her heart, her pupils wide with sorrow and heartache. He gently wiped a stray tear from her face. Save your tears for another, Marinette. He doesn't deserve them. She looked up at him for a long moment. He felt he couldn't breathe. His heart was trying to beat its way out of his chest to get to her and her eyes. Oh, they drew him in, but whether to his redemption or his doom, he neither knew nor cared. Cat heard his own voice as if from afar. I realize that I'm much too late and you deserve someone better, but there is no one better, she whispered, her eyes pools of stars and what sense he had remaining drowned in them. He dove for her lips, his longing, heartache, and need for her bypassing his conscious mind. She was softness and sweetness and warmth. She was all that was good in this world, and she was kissing him back, raising on her toes to give him more of a kiss, her delicate hands threading through his hair and sending a delighted shiver coursing through him. Cat felt like he was flying. He hadn't lost her. She still wanted him. His purr thundered out into the night as he pressed as close to her as he could. He never wanted to let her go. Oh, Marinette, I'll never hurt you again, I promise. They broke apart, breathless, trembling in each other's arms. A rosy blush tinted her cheeks like a fever. Her lips parted in a delicate "oh," as the realization of what they had just done came home to them both. Her eyes were a siren song, calling him back. Cat, I didn't know you... Me? You're crying. He blinked and felt the tears trickling down his face. I'm sorry, Marinette. Shh, she soothed, placing a finger over his lips. Save your tears for another day, Kitty. It's okay. I wanted it too. He took her hand and turned it so he kissed the inside of her wrist, watching in delight as her eyes widened and she shivered at his touch. He breathed into her skin. Marinette, I am yours, if you'll have me. She ran her hand along his hair and caressed around his cat ears, bringing out the purr once more. A hand stroked down the side of his face, pausing over his mask before lifting his chin with a gentle hand. Are you sure you want me? Just plain Marinette. There has never been anything plain about you, princess, he said. And yes, more than you'll ever know. Cradling his jaw in her hands, brushing her thumb across his lips, she studied his eyes until she found the answer she was looking for. Replacing her thumb with her lips, she kissed him until his mind was awash in her. She flooded his senses and filled every aching fibre of his heart to bursting before pulling slowly away. Then, I'm yours, my prince, she whispered. Adrian left her on the balcony, waving after him in the dark. Time disappeared on his way home, finding himself lying in his bed, transformed with a wide, awestruck grin on his face. So, kid, happy? Are we? Came the gravelly voice from his pillow. I don't think I've been this happy before in my whole life, Plague, he sighed, his lips still tingling where Marinette's lips had pressed. When are you gonna tell her you were the one who broke her heart in the first place? Plague's normal sarcastic tone was now laced with disgust. The rosy glow Adrian had been reveling in disappeared like the light from a broken bulb, and guilt coiled once more like a serpent in his stomach. What had he done? Thank you for listening to Save Your Tears. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you think of it. And yeah, make sure you smash the like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future treats, possibly a second one to come and other treats to come in the future. And I will speak to you soon. Bye.